A young white supremacist wearing a mask and shooting an AR-15 with a swastika on it murdered 3 African-American people in cold blood. He wrote a letter where he admitted that he hated black people. And then Governor Ron Desantis came to town several days after the shooting, and the crowd booed him. Were they right or wrong? Stay tuned. I got some things to say. It is so sad that African-American people lives are in danger if they go to the Dollar General, if they go for a jog, if they're sitting in church having Bible study. It is so sad that our lives are constantly in danger by white supremacists. Now, of course, before someone jumps up and says, but what about black on black crime? What about black on black homicide? That is an issue too that I deal with a lot, but not tonight. What I'm talking about tonight is the fact that we have targets on our backs by white supremacists merely because they don't like black people. Now, as I said in the opener, this past Saturday, the same day actually that the 60th year anniversary of the March on Washington was celebrated in D.C., on that same day, this white supremacist murdered 3 innocent African-American people. Shot one of them 11 times reportedly with an AR-15. Can you imagine the damage that was done to that woman's body? My heart goes out to her for what she suffered, the pain she incurred, the fear, all of that she experienced before she died. And my heart goes out to the other victims and to their families. I want to put their faces on the screen. Here they are. Anant Laguerre, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Angela Carr, and Gerard Callion. Please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing their names correctly. Anant Laguerre Jr., I think, was 19. Miss Angela Carr, I believe, was 52. And Gerard Callion, I believe, was 29 years old. They're all gone today. Their lives cut short needlessly because someone doesn't like brown-skinned people. And that, therefore, gave him the right in his mind, in his sick, demented mind, to kill these 3 innocent people. And what did they do wrong? They just went to the Dollar General. That's all they did. So as African-American people, white supremacists are killing us in church. They're killing us as we jog, Ahmaud Arbery. They're killing us as we shop in the grocery stores. I'm talking about Buffalo, New York. Just a couple of years ago, 10 people murdered at the local grocery store. No matter where we are targets of white supremacy. Now, Ron DeSantis went to a memoriam for these people, and he got booed. I think he got booed rightfully so. Absolutely. Why? Because we all know what he's been doing. We know that he has done a lot of anti-black things over the past few years. We know that he, for example, would not allow an AP Black History course to be taught in Florida schools. We know most recently that he was behind a course that teaches that there's some benefit to chattel slavery. We know that he gutted 2 Black majority voting districts. We know that he has essentially built his presidential campaign by being anti-black. He calls it being anti-woke, but we know what that means. That means being anti-black. And then he shows up at a memorial for 3 people who were murdered by white supremacists when he has been promoting white supremacist policies, and he has the nerve to show up. They absolutely were right for booing him because we know what he was doing. It was a campaign stop. That's all that was. He doesn't care about black people. He has shown us that. We know that. He has made that really clear. So for him to show up at this time, people are grieving because loved ones and family members and friends and so forth have been murdered by white supremacists. And he, the leader of white supremacy in the state of Florida, the governor, want to come up and give words and bring gifts. Keep your gifts, keep your words, stay away. I felt the same thing that those people felt who booed him. Why are you here? It's an insult. You have been showing us how anti-black you are for years, and we get it. So we don't want your empty words. We don't want your gifts. Well, there was one person who wanted those gifts. So let's roll the tape and see what happens when he started speaking. Watch this.
Florida Governor Ron Desantis is here. We're going to ask the governor if he would come now and bring remarks.
You hear the boos in the background.
Well, thank you for doing this. I want to just say to the councilwoman, I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help, one, make sure there's adequate security for Edward Waters College. We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
He targeted the institutions when he outlawed diversity, inclusion, when he outlawed equity. He targeted them. He targeted those institutions himself. So it's hypocrisy for him to show up and say, I'm going to give you some money because we don't want anybody targeting these institutions, when he did it himself. And again, you can't just show up, offer money. In other words, you can't buy us. You can't buy black Floridians. Well, again, you can, some people. So let's finish watching what happened.
Okay, listen, y'all. Let me tell you, we finna put parties aside, cause it ain't about parties today. A bullet don't know a party, so don't get me started. Okay, Jacoby is nice, but Ann is not. Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts, because we've been through enough already, and I don't want to go through no more. Now, y'all just be quiet just a minute and let the governor say what he gonna say, and we gonna get this party started. You hear me? Okay, let's do it.
I don't know this woman from Adam, and I don't mean to disparage her. She is probably a wonderful woman and cares a lot about her community. But that did not sit well with me, because this man has been anti-black against those very people, and they know it. That's why they booed him. And she takes the mic and says it's not about party today. Yes, it is. It's about party all the time with Ron DeSantis. He is the absolute most partisan politician in the state of Florida. And he's been doing all that he can to keep African-American people from enjoying full equality in that state. And We have seen it with his education policies. We've seen it with his politics. We have seen it. And so for him to come now, basically trying to bribe those African-American people, no. And I just take issue with the city councilwoman, I believe, the woman who took the mic. I take issue with her saying basically, if he want to come and he's bringing money, we'll take the money. Well, there's some things that are more important than money. There's some things that are more important than taking his gifts. And I know the councilwoman's district need those funds. I get it. But again, there's some times where you need to say, keep your money. Because all this is a photo op. All this is Ron DeSantis doing something that he can go brag about on the campaign trail. And I don't think that whatever amount of money he brought was worth that. So I take strong exception to the councilwoman basically rebuking those people because they were speaking their hearts. They were expressing what they felt toward a man who had been extremely anti-Black toward them. So if it was me, I would have strongly discouraged him from coming. I would not have participated in him coming. And I certainly would not have stopped my community from booing a man who had shown himself to be a white supremacist and anti-Black. Absolutely. So I just wanted to show you the unmitigated gall of Ron DeSantis, the nerves of him to come up in that community as they're grieving the death of 3 African-American people lynched, murdered by a white supremacist. And Ron DeSantis has shown himself to be a white supremacist. He's shown himself to be anti-Black. So why are you here? But again, we know why. It was a photo op. It was an opportunity to do something that reflects good on him on the campaign trail. That's what it was all about. And unfortunately, this city councilwoman fell for the trap. I think she was absolutely wrong. I am Attorney Augustus Corbett. You've been listening to the Defiant Lawyers. Until the next time, peace and love. And our hearts go out to those victims and their families.